Hey everyone, welcome back to Brain Muffin at the Movies. And did you hear? J.J. Abrams, he's gonna save the DCEU just like he did Star Wars. I mean, after Star Wars The Force Awakens, everything was great, right? It was all Rian Johnson's fault, and he's gonna save Star Wars again with The Rise of Skywalker. Now, him and James Gunn, yes, James Gunn is back. Can you believe it? Are you excited that J.J. Abrams is about to take charge of the DCEU? Here I thought he was just trying to build his empire with Disney, and he's jumping ship. What about his son's Spider-Man comic? How's that going to fit into all this? Anyway, don't worry about this big old empty white space. There's a trailer here that plays, and I don't want any copyright infringements or as few as I get. So, hey, let's see. We got this covered, and there's 2 articles we're going to cover on this from we'vegotthiscovered.com. But let's get to the first one. And I'm so excited. I can't believe it. I just can't believe that JJ's going to save the DCEU from Zack Snyder. So, J.J. Abrams recently signed a massive $500 million exclusive deal with Warner Media to write, produce, and direct content for the media company across multiple platforms, including film, television, streaming, and video games under the He's going to do all that? Oh, I highly doubt that. His Bad Robot. See, what happened? I thought Bad Robot was in Flint. Over at Disney, and they were basically owning everything Disney that wasn't Marvel. Definitely, Star Wars and all that, but I guess I was wrong. There are clearly huge plans for Abrams once he finishes working on Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, the end of the stupid trilogy, and given his appearance and success in handling established success. Okay, well, he did bring in $2 billion, right, for the first one. We'll see what happens with the third one. And the DC could be next on his hit list. Hit list is actually more apropos than this author wants to admit. Yeah, Mission Impossible. I mean, his Mission Impossible movies were okay. The filmmakers previously experienced with DC-related movies, having written the script for Superman Flyby, which came close to getting the official green light back in 2002. Then he was still best known for his small screen work on Felicity and Alias. I didn't know what that is, and I'm not clicking on it. However, it also looks like Abrams might be tackling the DCEU alone. Oh, not be tackling DCEU alone. It helps when you see all the words there, old man. James Gunn. I can't believe it. James Gunn is back. He is back from his exile or whatever it was he was in. See, these creeps never go away. They always come back. Is also rumored to help shape the direction of the franchise going forward. Because, Aquaman and Wonder Woman did not do that well. That's sarcasm. As well as a bad impersonation of Mr. Sul. Oh my. We told you a while back that Gunn would stick around the property after the Suicide Squad. And now that Abrams has hopped into bed with Warner Bros., boy, this is just getting creepier and creepier. As well, the studio wants the 2 of them to spearhead the cinematic universe. From what our sources have told us, JJ will oversee the main heroes, just like the Justice League, while Gunn will guide the Suicide Squad. Oh boy. Harley Quinn and some of the villains. So we're getting a new Joker movie. I don't know how all this is going to phase out. And given that, the Joker movie is not their fault, I don't think. And this intel, given all that, this intel comes from the same sources who told us Robert Pattinson was locked in his Batman, that Viola Davis was returning in Suicide Squad, and that Black Mask will be gay in Birds of Prey, which rhymes, all of which turned out to be true. We have no reason to doubt it. All right. I see what you did there. So here we have some pictures. So that's entertaining. Yeah. I think they made her a little bigger there. Aquaman, Justice League, which was horror, Frubble, the Batman. Okay. I didn't see Justice League, so anyway. Besides on paper, this seems like a great idea. For years, the comic book franchise was lacking direction under the stewardship of Zack Snyder. It had direction. It was just not one people liked. And the stupid crap he did to Superman was just ridiculous. And has been quietly rebooting itself for the last several movies, sort of, yeah, yielding both critical and commercial success in the process. Abrams has plenty of know-how when it comes to writing, producing, and directing blockbuster projects in many different genres. Yeah, but he doesn't know how to finish anything. So we're gonna get Batman mystery box. So what I fully expect is we'll have superheroes just appear with no backstory, none. We won't ever, because we won't know why they're there. Where was I? While Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy movies are among the best to ever come out of the first one was good. The second one sucked. And I don't have any faith in the third one's going to be any good either, as Guardians of the Galaxy. Not only that, but he's already working with the studio on the Suicide Squad, and it's made it clear that Volume 3 will be the last go-around with the Guardians. Okay. With sequels for Aquaman and Shazam set to come, the Batman in pre-production, the world's biggest movie star about to board the ship with Black Adam. Okay. An upcoming slate of DCEU projects is as exciting as it's ever been. But I still want to know, is in the second movie, is Wonder Woman actually the hero? Since Min did not let her be the hero in the first one, I want her to be the hero in the second one. Maybe Abrams will even finally get to scratch that itch and make a Superman pick of his own. What? I skipped something. If Warner Brothers are intent on making the Marvel movies on taking the Marvel Studios approach to making a specific creative team handling all of their movies, they could definitely do a lot worse. Oh yeah, well, there is always going to do a lot worse. They can do a lot better. But the Marvel movies are starting to come apart. Phase 4 is going to be lovely. It's going to create all kinds of content for people like me. So before we look at the comments, let's go look at the other article about a reboot. And this is what J.J. does. Okay, J.J. reboots stuff. He destroys the old and builds off its ashes. So he did this with Star Wars, and it's going down in flames. Star Trek, he did it. It was successful at first, but it's going down in flames. Now, granted, I don't think he had a direct hand in, Star Trek Discovery, but it's just burning over there at CBS. So this is also from, we got this covered, same website. Following the release of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, J.J. Abrams will be hopping from Disney over to Warner Brothers, as the director has just signed a big exclusive deal with the studio. Okay. So this one is a bit more recent. I'm going to try and scan this because some of this is a recap since the other one's a couple days old. So we have the Batman will be based on the Long Halloween, and that Black Adam will show up in Shazam 3. Okay, so I know that there's only one show. Okay, both of which have since been confirmed that Abrams is the new favorite to direct a Justice League reboot. Reported back in June that WB was looking to relaunch the superhero team. I don't want them to reboot it. Just if you got to replace actors, do it. Just make it better. We don't need another, because now we're going to get a new, if we're going to reboot, that means we're going to get a new origin of the Justice League. Just make it better. And they had a lot of that stuff, Amanda Waller and all that, in the Arrowverse, and they could have crossed over, kind of like Marvel did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., although they only sort of did it. But, things were mentioned, but it wasn't the same universe. So to have two different properties, this is also confusing people. You got two different Flashes and all this other stuff, and anyway, at the time we heard James Gunn was being eyed to direct the project, seeing the studio seems pleased with his work on Suicide Squad. So that was, the Batman and Superman being recast, following the likes of, and however, this nothing is set in stone just yet. Of course, Abrams has already had some experience with DC in the past, in 2002. Okay, we know he did that. Like I said, a lot of this is just a recap. Also found himself helming a solo Superman movie, though not necessarily a Man of Steel 2. So this is basically a recap of the other article with a little bit more of, hey, maybe he's rebooting Justice League. I think this is just an article to keep themselves in the SEO. So let's look at this one. Okay. So possibly Tom Cruise playing Hal Jordan has become likelier. Okay, that's interesting. Good God, just when WB looked like they were getting will never be as good as never really be as good as possible if the Justice League roster remains incomplete. The first Justice League movie was fine, but not sure why time is being wasted on a reboot. Yeah, I agree there. Rather, DC should work on incorporating the missing core characters: Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, and Martian Manhunter. The Marvel Avengers did well because Marvel took time via separate movies to see that, and that I like this person's comment, Alex Smith. I agree. This is the problem: is DC was behind; they were years behind, and they tried to jump in 2 movies. They tried to do what Marvel did in 6 years and 12 movies or 15 movies. And you're not going to be able to do that. It's not going to work. Some comments on the other one: they should have started with this choice instead of Zack Snyder. I don't know about that. Bring back Ben Affleck to reprise his role as Bruce Wayne. I actually liked him as Batman. I didn't have a problem. You may not like J.J. Abrams, but he is far better than what DC presently has. Also, his movies don't suck. Yeah, yes, they do. He knows how to capture the magic of the folklore. No, he doesn't. James Gunn may be solid. The Guardians of the Galaxy movies are okay. Now, J.J. Abrams only knows how to pantomime others. So now that he's going to rebuild something that has bad examples, right? We had good Star Trek movies that he basically redid. We had good Star Wars movies that he basically redid. There's nothing here for him to copy that was good. Everything he's going to copy is shot per shot remake nonsense. His reboot and mystery box crap is really not going to fly here. He actually has to create something from nothing, and he's not done that. He is a great visual guy. I will give you that. But that's it. Warner Brothers has nothing to do with Star Trek, The Force Awakens, or Lost. Also, you might not have liked it, but I thought Lost was great. Nah, I really felt suckered on Lost. I have to disagree with this great idea on paper. I liked the first Star Trek Abrams did. Most of his stuff since then is whatever. But they obviously need some leadership. Yeah. And again, it was basically they need somebody with a better vision. But again, it's not, Abrams doesn't have a vision. Here's a shock. A millennial douchebag has a problem with The Force Awakens. What? I have a problem with The Force Awakens, and I'm much older than a millennial. So what do you think? Do you think this is going to be good? Do you think it's going to be bad? I don't think it's going to matter. I think the only way that Warner Brothers does well with DCEU is they got to put it on pause. They got to see a phase 4, because basically they've screwed up so much that a reboot is maybe necessary, although I think they could just continue. And if you bring on these other characters, do their backstories first. And just have them kind of like a single movies, kind of like Marvel did in the early days where they had these movies were standalone and they kind of came together. But like they introduced Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman, and then they did her origin story. And of course, in her origin story, her backstory, they destroyed the shield. They destroyed, the sword, but she had that in the other, and it was different. And the costumes were different. Now they got a movie in between. It's another prequel, essentially. That's just dumb. Have these things start to come together. Have them a reason to come together. Because that's basically what happened with Marvel movies, is there started to become a reason for people to interact, and then there was a greater evil that led them all together. And to collide and Civil War and all that other stuff. But they just didn't just show up. I mean, some of them did show up and we got a backstory. We did that with Black Panther, and I thought that was just kind of stupid. But that was so deep into it. You started to get Black Panther, and we got Captain Marvel just to raise the diversity quota. But I think you got to do these individual movies and then bring them together. You have to spend the time. I understand, too, that there may be a fear at Warner Brothers of superhero fatigue. We are starting to see that. I think phase 4 with Marvel is going to bring everybody down. And I think what I wouldn't be surprised is, let's say J.J. is a little bit successful with this. He gets it, let's say, better than Snyder, but not, every movie's $2 billion or something like Marvel. And then phase 4 and the woke brigade just kill it. We already have fatigue. A lot of people don't care after Endgame. The audience is going to be down. My guess is at least 20% just because Endgame is done. And people are tired, and we've had too many, and it's been 11 years. So I wouldn't be surprised if just as DCEU is starting to be decent, fatigue sets in, and the movies do very poorly, and then we're back to no superhero movies at all for a while. So we'll see. But, I have no faith in J.J. because there's nothing for him to build on. He has to build everything completely, unless he goes back and parodies, like, say, Batman 89, goes and looks at the Christopher Reeve Superman 1 and 2, and essentially gives us remakes of those. I don't think we've ever had really good Flash movies, but he could look at the Arrowverse, at Flash on television, both in the 90s and in the most recent carnation, because they did use some of the actors and from the old one, the old Flash, and he actually shows up as Flash from different Earths. And they could put that all together, and maybe that way, and that's something to reboot upon. Aquaman is decent, so I don't expect him to really mess with the formula there. And Wonder Woman is okay. So he might pull some elements out of the TV show from the 70s, but we'll see, because I think Patty's running those pretty much. And we'll see what happens with Wonder Woman in 1984. I don't have any hopes for it because I mean, the first one was okay, but it was a mess in many, many ways. But compared to the DCEU movies that came before it was actually better. Aquaman was much better, and then Justice League was just kind of in between. So we'll see. But I really don't have any faith mainly because there's nothing for him to copy. If there was something decent, let's say this was, the first couple movies were really good, and then it just went downhill and crash and burn, kind of like Star Trek. In some ways, like Star Wars with the prequels, although that took years for people to dislike. And he went back to the first few movies that were good and rebooted from there. Then I would say, yeah, he probably can at least inject some life into this corpse. But there's nothing there. There's nothing for J.J. to go back and reboot and redo and copy. So I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I am cautiously pessimistic. I'm just going to sit here and watch the show and get my popcorn and watch it burn to the ground. And I would love to see a reboot, a real do toward a Justice League. Let's take a break. Let's take 3, 4, 5 years off. Let's do some other stuff and then start with some standalones. You look at that first year of Marvel and MCU, there's only a few movies, and it actually took some, the Hulk movies are part of it, but they didn't do well. The Iron Man movie started to do well, I think, because of Robert, and then Thor did well, and it started to build some energy. Warner Brothers doesn't have that. They just basically have the immovable object, and they have no irresistible force to start pushing it. So we'll see. All right. So what do you think? Do you think this is going to do well? Do you think I'm just being a windbag here, or you think it's going to crash and burn and you can't wait to see it happen? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for subscribing, and we will see you. Goodbye. He is about to do to Star Wars what he do to DC. Forget it. Stop. God bless. Let's do this. My name is Quabblecop, and this is Games Time. I know that didn't really rhyme. My name is Quabblecop, and this is Games. No. All right. I know he doesn't speak that way. I can't do his accent. All right. 3, 2, 1.